Hello, fabulous first graders. As you know, we're learning about time. Today, I want to make sure that you know some basic things about time, clocks, and how clocks work. The first thing I want to let you know is that clocks always move in the same direction. This is called clockwise. It goes this way in the order that the numbers are on the clock. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and the way I just moved that out of the way is not how clocks move. So the hour hand, that's the short one here, and the minute hand, that's the long one here. They always move in that same direction. However, the minute hand goes around the clock a lot faster than the hour hand, but they both move clockwise. The next thing I want to make sure that you know is that each day the hour hand goes around the clock 2 times. It'll go all the way around and ignore the minute hand for right now. It's not working correctly. It'll go all the way around from 12 to 12 2 times in a day. Whereas the minute hand goes around the clock 1 time for every hour in the day. That means that in the time it takes the hour hand to move from the 1 to the 2, this minute hand is going to go all the way around the clock. And the hour hand is tick, tick, ticking very slowly from 1 to 2. So when the minute hand is up here by the 12, the hour hand is right on any of the big numbers. But by the time the minute hand gets a little bit around, it's moved a little bit. By the time it gets down here by the 6, the hour hand has moved about halfway between the 1 and the 2. As the minute hand continues to go, the hour hand slowly tick, tick, ticks, and it's almost to the 2 by the time it gets to the 9. The minute hand keeps on ticking, and the hour hand tick, tick, ticks. And by the time the minute hand makes it all the way back up to the 12, the hour hand has made it to the next big number. Now, like I said, the hour hand goes around 2 times for the whole day. The first time around, we call AM. AM is before noon, or before the middle of the day. 12 o'clock is what we call the middle of the day. So for those first couple hours, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we're still asleep. 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m., we're still asleep. But then we start to wake up in this time down here, this 5 to 7 o'clock, most people start to wake up. By 7 o'clock a.m., people start getting to school. And we continue throughout our day. And by the time this hour hand goes tick, 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 all the way around to 12 noon, that's the middle of the day, then we call it PM. PM is afternoon, evening, and night. But anything that happens after that 12 o'clock, middle of the day, noon. So from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m., that's our last little bit of our school day. By 2 p.m., most people have gotten picked up and are going home. 3 p.m., 4 p.m., 5 p.m., that's our time at home. 6 p.m., about dinner time. 5 or 6 p.m., most people eat dinner. Then we have a little bit more time before we go to bed. Our hour hand is tick, 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 ticking away. By about 8 or 9 p.m., most people are starting to get ready to go to bed. at least most elementary schoolers. And then we have 10 p.m., 11 p.m. Those are our nighttime sleeping hours. So again, this is the hour hand, and it goes around the clock 2 times in a day. This is the minute hand. It goes around the clock once for every hour. So every time this hour hand moves from one big number to the next, that blue minute hand has gone all the way around the clock. The last thing I want to talk to you about today is how a clock and a number line are similar. A clock is a number line that's been made into a circle. To help you understand that, I've made 2 number lines with some pictures to help us understand. The first one I made is our before noon number line. And I didn't put the 12 on here yet because I have something special to tell you about the 12. So 1 a.m. till about 5 a.m. we're sleeping. Around 6 a.m. I put wake up. 7 a.m. we're on the school bus coming to school. 8 a.m. we're doing our math. 9 a.m. reading. 10 a.m. well, not quite 10 a.m., but somewhere in that 10 o'clock hour, each of our classes goes to lunch when we're at school. And 11 a.m. we're usually doing something for recess. Now, that 12 o'clock we would think goes down here on the end after 11. But because that first minute after 12 is the beginning of a new time around the clock, we're going to put it at the beginning. And it's going to take me a second to clip it on here. There we go. So this is our first clock, our morning AM clock. So it's going to come around like this. And give me a second to paper clip it. And now our number line has turned into a circle. It's turned into a clock. So our AM clock, we're sleeping, we're sleeping, we're sleeping. We're getting up right at the bottom of that clock, right at 6. And we're continuing up, 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 up throughout our day. Now, when we get here, we're going to start our new clock, our PM clock. So let's look at our PM number line. Now again, I left the 12 off because it's going to go in front of the 1, which is a little bit silly, but makes sense when we think about the AM and PM clocks that we're making. So after recess, we have specials, social studies and science. We get on the bus and go home. We work on our homework. We play with our friends or our siblings. We eat dinner. We play some more games. We go to bed and we have some sleeping time. So another number line turns into another clock. Let me straighten it out a little bit. Now, it's not perfect, but you can see that our number line has turned into another circle. We have a circle, and that circle we call a clock. Ta-da! We have a clock. So those are our 2 number lines to help us remember that clock is really just a number line made into a circle. So we have our AM before noon and our PM afternoon clocks or number lines turned into clocks. And we have our clock with our hands on it so we can remember that we have our hour hand and our minute hand. And we're going to continue learning more and more about time and clocks and how they work. But that's just a little bit that I wanted to make sure that everybody had by now in our unit. So I hope this helps you understand the clock a little bit better. Have a great rest of your day. Make sure you do all of your work. And I look forward to getting to see all of you whenever we get to see each other again. Bye, friends.